greenfeatherfoundation.com. That's what I'm promoting right now in this video. Green Feather Foundation is a nonprofit organization I created in 2025, but I wrote the business plan in 2017. And then I went off and researched this organization for almost, 9 years? Or now. I had to go and understand, how am I going to find people willing to work for rewards versus working for free? That was my predicament. I went and seen what I needed, so I had to go and find out, how do I find what I need? And what I needed was homeless people. I needed a lot of homeless people across Canada. So I created an organization to bring homeless people to Saskatchewan. But a lot of people say, but they have addictions. It's like, yes, they do. So let's fix that. I want to do a pilot project here in Saskatoon, and then I want to take it to Regina, and then I want to take it to Prince Albert. And to do that, I need a lot of money. And so I want us to create that money together ourselves, using bonds, using memberships, using our working together. Of course, I'm looking for sponsors. I'm going to go to the reserves and say, hey, I need you to help find a way to bring the grandmothers to my camp, because we're going to practice sovereignty as First Nations people. We have an opportunity, and we have a right, and we have a duty, and it's our obligation as First Nations people to create a future for our family and to create a future for the people living on the streets. So Green Feather Foundation, we're having an event called the Homeless Healing Camp. That's the first event I'm having. If you go to the website, you'll go see and understand what we're doing in 7 days. Day 0, the homeless people, the ones who registered online, I'm going to ask you to go register online, homeless people and grandmothers. And grandmothers, though, here's the thing. I need you to bring your Two-Spirit Newsumsuck, because I want to show how that saying, when they say, oh yeah, the two spirits were revered, and it's like, yes, I know they were, but I want to show why. And I want to also take these people who have addictions off the street, show them, introduce them to their addiction, introduce them to themselves, really. And they're going to look at their addiction, and I'm going to say, hey, you can put that to sleep, that spirit. And they'll be like, you can put it to sleep? It's like, yes, let me show you how. So my training, my teachings, my education comes from me putting down my education. I had much experience, work, University of Saskatchewan, First Nations University of Canada, and then 10 years of work, and I put it aside after I wrote my business plan in 2017. After my business plan was done, I moved to the reserve. I moved back to my community. I was 40 years old, and then I went on my vision quest. And then that's where you go and find yourself. That's where you go and say, I give up. And then the spirit world says, hey, you want me to help you since you give up? Because that's a good place to be. At 0, and says, I know nothing. It says, let me teach you something then. And that's where my education came. And so now I want to say, we need to create something new for us, First Nation. As people, we need to create something, and that's where Green Feather Foundation comes in. This homeless healing camp, I call it, or the third pole. So for the homeless healing camp, I want to invite 300 to each location. So 300, 300, 300, 3, 3, 3. Everything I do is in threes. You'll understand that after a while. You'll be like, this guy's very repetitive. Threes, like your heartbeat. Doo, doo, doo. You are that heartbeat of the nation, my friends. And we got to bring together that drum, and we have to beat that drum together. Love is all I have after. Love. I'm after your love. I'm after peace. I'm after us working together as First Nations people and doing our due diligence. So, I want to bring together the grandmothers of Canada from Treaty 1 to Treaty 11. And I said, sign up on my website, please. And I'm going to bring you over to Saskatoon. So, I'm going to raise money, and you're going to help me do that. And so we're going to bring your cookum, and I'm going to go to the band offices. I'm going to be like, Chief, it says I want $10,000 sponsorship. And then eventually the spots are going to fill up. I says, you're helping create history. Organizations out there who want to be part of history, it's like, we'll remember you. We'll say, yeah, you were good to us. Yes, because I'll tell everybody. And if I send you something and you ignore me, I'll tell everybody. Chief Clarence Louis will have nothing on me. I want to be very open, and I want to make sure that everybody sees us create a country, create something new. So this camp, my friends, I'm going to take the homeless people off the streets. I'm going to fix them up, and that's not hard. And what I want to do, friends, is I have to create an industry. And so I researched for almost 10 years. It's a lot of research, isn't it? To go and understand homelessness, to go and understand what's going on, to go and be one with nature. And that's exactly what I did. And now I want to create something new for us. Homeless people of all colors. So it's 300 in Saskatoon. They're going to be in this inner part because it has to be a pilot project. And I want to do this pilot project. It says, look what I learned. And I want to prove to you without a doubt. That's what I have is proof. I've done so much research that I says, let me prove myself, please. And so, but I need your money to do it. And that's where I have Green Feather Foundation, this nonprofit organization that works for the homeless and the grandmothers. And I am the CEO, yes, but eventually I'll have to hand it over, one reign at least, to the board, which is your chair. And I want to create a board of grandmothers, and that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm looking for grandmothers from Treaty 1 to Treaty 11 to be part of the board. And then I want to bring you close as well to the event and said, okay, ladies, who do you want on the board? Because am I going to tell the grandmothers how to assemble? No, I'll just say, I was just told assemble. I said, from here, let's create a country. I said, grandmothers, you're going to be the authority. Grandmothers' authority, grandmothers' council, grandmothers, all about the grandmothers, friends. That is the government that's going to be in place, is the grandmothers. FSIN is you're no government. AFN, you're no government. We're going to put in place a government that is made by us, for our children, for your children, for our future. We're going to create something that belongs to us, friends. So it's 1492 and we're working backwards. So it's like Christopher Columbus just came on our shore, and that's how we're going to see it. As he comes to the event, and the Cookham says, okay, let's talk. And then you're going to ask, well, you're creating a country? He says, yes, First Nations people are going to assemble. Their grandmothers are going to do it. They're fucking smart. PhDs, masters, PhDs. That's how the grandmothers will be the ones who will run this organization. This Green Feather is going to be our new INAC. It will look after the money for us. The ones that the government's going to say, okay, we represent all these people of all colors. And they'll be like, okay. Being united, my friends, has its perks. Because then they cannot do divide and conquer us like they do now. They throw us money, and what do we do with it? We go and feed their economy. Why can't we create our own economy? And then we'll go and redo the day school and night school and says, okay, now you're going to feed our economy because we know how to play your game. And that's really what it is, friends. We need to separate. Alberta, you're talking about separation, says our turn. I call on the chiefs, I call on the people of Canada, says let's do this. And just know that the grandmothers will be the ones in power. Your chiefs, you'll have no more power. The grandmothers will delegate to you, sure, if you want to be part of that game. But you'll have no power. You'll just become a regular person. The day of using a chief and council system, gone. It says, well, what's in place? Grandmothers. A matriarch system. A monarchy? Close, not quite. Matriarch. It's where the grandmothers are in control. They have the helm. Cookam's the boss. And that's a new time, friends, that I'm creating for us. And that's my mandate. Do you want to create a home for the homeless people that are on the street? Do you want to create a new home for yourself, First Nation, non-First Nation, homeless person? That's what I'm offering us. We don't have a home right now. I want to create a home for us so that way we can feel that we're part of something. part of society.